No idea what it's about.
Me neither. Well, he did release another theory and everything, kind of, but it wasn't. It was like a FNAF theory, but it wasn't a FNAF theory. It's talking about the butterfly effect that Scott Cawthorn has done for.
You say Thorn?
What?
Cawthon.
Scott
Cawthon.
Cawthon?
You said Cawthorn.
Whatever. My bad.
I always thought it was coffin. Like an actual coffin.
Like where you bury dead people?
Yeah, because he always said like Scott Coffin. Scott Apothecary. No,
I'm gonna Google it.
I think I'm gonna be a theorizer here for a second.
Oh, Scott Cawthon.
I told you. I think that I do know about like the ending of his video. Mm-hmm. He go and visits Scott, and so I'm thinking Scott is officially gonna hire Matt to actually write the lore for the games, to actually like make a proper fucking timeline.
That's your theory?
That's my theory. Like he's actually going to hire him to actually work. Mm-hmm. Because this whole entire thing is just a theory. Like the plot of the games are literally just a theory.
Scott Cawthon stars in MatPat's final game theory episode.
I just told you. I literally just told you we're not paying attention whatsoever.
I just heard Scott and MatPat.
Okay, so it's like, okay, yeah, that's cool. Anyway, everybody, hi, welcome back to the podcast.
I feel like such a dick.
I'm so gonna add that in. It is your favorite host, Mr. Butternubs, and with me is...
I don't even want to say.
Ray, as always.
I need tape. Where's the tape? I will literally tape myself right now, so I can stop interrupting you.
I'm so used to it. Like
I feel really bad now because you pointed it out not once, not twice.
There's like whole episodes where you've done it. Like, I've literally like I went back to listen to one of the podcast episodes because it's been a while since I listened to it. I think it was the episode I did about the Connecticut house. Mm-hmm. As I tried to explain the story, you kept butting in like every 3 minutes.
I'm sorry.
I could not get my story across. I was like, fuck.
I'm sorry. Okay. I'm here for business. I will be serious.
It's fine. I'm used to it.
Alright, Sir Butters.
I'm so tired.
Let's get this episode started. We both have true crime today.
What?
I'm pulling your leg.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. You know why I'm telling you don't do that?
Why?
Because I barely did my notes today. It's been... Every weekend, this has been too much. And so I was like, alright, I'm going to do it Friday. I didn't do it Friday. I'm going to do it Saturday. I worked Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you work Saturday?
Yeah, I work Saturday. And so...
That's why you were awake.
Yeah. Oh, I was awake for so fucking long. And then I woke up really early because I was like, alright, I'm going to eat breakfast. Then I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do my notes. And that's what I did this morning. My eyes are so tired. And I know you barely just woke up you barely woke up too. So I know you're just as tired.
Well, this thing's pretty good, even though there's barely any caffeine in it.
Well, it's warm. It's coming down my throat. I'm fine with it.
We're having a tea party.
Yeah, we are.
Pinkies up. Oh, shit. I can't do that with this mug.
What do you mean? You can do it.
No, I can't because it's going to fall.
Aha!
Pinkies up. We are drinking strawberry and mango tea.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Mm-hmm. That's really good.
I tried it for the first time and it was like, wow, it's really fruity. I'm pretty sure Michael will like it.
Yeah.
So, without context, it's the flavors. I'm not insinuating that Michael's sexuality.
There was nothing that was hinting towards that. Jesus fucking Christ. Wow. Okay.
You good, bro?
Oh no, great.
I only started laughing because you were laughing. Oh god, I'm crying now. I'm crying tears of laughter. Oh my god.
Okay. So, besides that, I'm glad, you drink something fruity and you go, oh, hey, Michael's gonna enjoy that. That's great. Not about the flavor of the drink, but his question of sexuality. That's great. Okay.
I'm sorry.
He's still fucking going.
I can't breathe.
Take a minute.
My stomach's gonna hurt so bad.
Oh, that's a great clip.
Oh god. But yeah, I thought about you when I drank this, and I was like, man, Michael will like it, I think. Well, because I didn't know you weren't a tea person. But I figured because we never drank tea on the podcast before, we're always like gung-ho about coffee and G Fuel.
No, I'm always excited about like anything caffeine in it. But I've had teas and they're good.
Yeah.
But the problem is just because I think I've already told you that a long time ago, back in middle school, a friend, I had a project. I was working with him for science class, and I go to his house and he's like, "Hey, do you want some tea?" Mentioned I've never had tea. All I've ever had has been coffee in my life. He was like, "Let me make you authentic British tea that we got from Britain. That my family went over there and we got some. We brought it back home." I'm like, "All right, yeah, that'll be interesting. They drink it all the time over there. It must be fucking good."
It tasted horrible?
It tasted like dog water. It tasted so fucking horrible. I'm
I want to taste it so bad.
It was bitter. It was disgusting. I'm like, he's like, I was like,
as a tea enthusiast, I need to taste it.
I was like, did you add any sugar? He's like, I put a lot. I'm like, that's disgusting.
Oh my goodness. No milk, no cream.
No, it was full to the brim because he was like, this is how they make it over there. So he put a lot of sugar. He put a lot of milk and creamer to help make it better, and it just was not better.
Yeah.
It's such a bitter tea. Whatever he had, Jesus. It was just bitter.
No wonder why they threw that shit in the ocean.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know what? I think because of that, it just ruined my perception of tea. I mean, I'll still drink canela or raspberry tea or fucking Jamaica.
Fun fact: raspberry tea helps you with your menstrual cramps and it helps you lose a baby.
Oh shit!
We love that. That's what they used to use back in the day.
Well.
But yeah, this is strawberry and mango. Yeah. I'm excited to try it cold. That's what I'm thinking about doing. I'm thinking about just putting it in hot water. I've
never been a fan of tea, but I've always been a fan of it's always appearing on TikToks where it's just people making tea. Yes. They always have cool ass devices that make the tea.
Oh, what this is minty bong water. Do you follow him?
No.
Minty bong water?
Yeah, I might have seen a video too. It's this magnet ball that he removes with something, and then I don't know. It looks so cool. I'm like, I don't drink tea like that, but I kind of want it just in case. If I ever drink tea, again, Jamaica, the only real tea I'll drink. But then again, we drown it in fucking sugar, just like Southern Texans and their goddamn tea too.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to tea, I don't even use sugar. This is the second time I've ever used sugar in a tea. Mm-hmm. I always use honey. I'm those honey people. Either I drink it honey or I just drink it flat out just tea, no sweetener.
God, I wish we were sponsored by honey. This would have been a great fucking segue.
Oh yeah, huh? We have a podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, we just
talk about tea.
Talk about tea, my sexuality, everything in between. Oh yeah.
Lesbianism in the spectrum. Michael.
Middle.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Fuck you.
No. Oh, I know what will be in the middle. Rhea Ripley and Pedro Pascal having a handshaking each other.
I guess so.
Yeah. Alrighty then. Let's get this party started.
Right. So, this one I called the Calcasieu Courthouse and its lingering outlaw. Annie Beatrice was born on January 3rd, 1916, near Shreveport, Louisiana, and was the third out of 5 children. In her early life, her mother passed away when she was only 6 years old, and her father was soon remarried. She never did like her mom's replacement, and even insisted that her aunt take her away from the family, but it never happened. At the good old ripe age of working class of 13, she went to work at a macaroni factory. That was so bad. To support her family. Unfortunately, this job wouldn't stick, and she would be fired after her boss learned her mother had died from tuberculosis.
Why does that matter, though?
Because this was like really early 1900s, so they're like, you're gonna get the whole fucking factory infected, you're gonna get the product infected.
Makes sense.
Like, get the fuck out the factory, basically.
Yeah.
When she returned home and told her father what happened, he began to hit her and beat her. After that, she picked herself up and left her home for good. Now alone in the world at a young age, she changed her name to Tony Jo and began to use her body to get by, which apparently it was easy for her as her clientele liked her jet black hair and her petite stature.
Disgusting.
Now a part of the underworld in Louisiana, her life of prostitution led her to drugs, alcohol, and even led her to be arrested a few times. One of these arrests came from when she assaulted a man in her later teen years. She was able to avoid prison because of how young she was.
Mm-hmm.
Now the year is 1939. Tony now works a full-time job in a brothel and was heavily addicted to cocaine. At this brothel, it's where she would meet a man by the name of Claude Henry, who went by the name of Cowboy, which is such a cool fucking nickname, by the way. Mm-hmm. When Henry first showed up, Tony fell for him almost immediately, as he seemed almost down on his luck. I guess she liked men that were just broken. Henry had a decent criminal record to him by the time he met Tony. He was on bail awaiting a second trial over the murder of a police officer. But as Henry frequented his visits, he managed to get Tony clean and off of the coke. They would soon wed on November 25th, 1939 in Louisiana. She used her real name in the official documents.
Aww.
For their honeymoon, they went to Southern California, but this honeymoon was cut short when Henry received a telegram telling him to appear in court in Texas. Tony had begged Henry to not go and to stay in the honeymoon and go on the run from the law, but Henry decided to show up to the courthouse despite Tony's best efforts. Henry was convicted of the murder of a police officer and was sentenced to 50 years at the Texas State Penitentiary in Huntsville. This angered Tony, as she believed that Henry was only acting in self-defense, so she vowed that she would get her little cowboy out of prison.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Very Bonnie and Clyde-esque.
Yeah, actually.
What year was this again? The 30s?
1939 at this point. Almost to 1940. By like a few months. Thanks to her working in the underbelly of Louisiana, and even in some parts in Texas, she was able to form connections that would help her break Henry out. A man by the name of Harold Burks, who she called Archie, had served in the same penitentiary and claimed to have great knowledge of the prison, and was sure he was able to break Henry out. So they planned to steal a getaway car that could outrun the police, and needed to rob a bank to cover Archie and his side of the deal. Through one of Tony's contacts, she managed to get some guns, and they headed off. The two claimed that they were newlyweds and managed to hitch a ride all the way to Orange, Texas on February 14th, hoping to find their getaway car. And as luck would have it, and at the wrong place at the wrong time, a man named Joseph P. Collyway was delivering a brand new Ford V8 coupe to a friend when he happened to see the newlywed, quote unquote, on the side of the road and decided to pick them up and offer a ride. As they drove towards Jennings, Louisiana, where the car was supposed to be delivered, and passed by Lake Charles, they got into the countryside when Tony pulled out a .32 caliber revolver and told Joseph to get off of the main highway and to get into a quiet country road. He pulled over and they all got out of the car. Tony ordered him to strip. Archie took the clothes, his watch, and even robbed him. He only had $15. Tony made Joseph strip because she was going to make Henry switch clothes when she broke them out. So Tony stuffed Joseph in the trunk of the car and continued to drive for a while until she found a quiet little spot. She took Joseph out and made him walk across a field over to some haystacks. Tony told Joseph to kneel and to say any foul prayers, to which she calmly shot him in the head, killing Joseph instantly. Tony and Archie made off with the car and headed towards Camden, Arkansas, where they planned to rob a bank. After robbing a bank, they settled in a cheap motel for the night. While Tony was asleep, Archie packed up his bunch of the money and left with the Ford. When later asked, Archie stated that the murder was not a part of the plan and was unnerved by Tony's cold killing. He just went along with the original crazy plan to rob the bank. Now left alone, she used the last of the stolen money on a bus ticket to return to the brothel in Louisiana. On her return, she asked an old friend if she could stay with her and her aunt for a while. The aunt knew Tony was troubled by something and was concerned for her well-being. So the aunt decided to tell her brother, who was a policeman at the time, about Tony. The aunt was unable to get a hold of him, however, so she instead turned to a colleague, Sergeant Dave Walker. When the sergeant came to the house to interview Tony to see what was troubling her, but he wasn't expecting a full confession.
Wow.
Yeah, she basically just let it all out. Tony handed the sergeant the revolver that had been used with its still 5 remaining bullets. Though he didn't believe her, as no murder was ever reported, no body was ever found, or for the car that matter. Regardless, he arrested her and sent her to Lake Charles police, who took her out to find Joseph's body. And sure enough, his body was still there, unmoved, just as she had left it. The bullet was recovered from the autopsy and matched with the gun. A little later, the Ford was eventually discovered abandoned on the side of a road in Arkansas. It still had Joseph's clothes and even contained cigarette butts with lipstick stains on them. She was arrested for the murder, but had refused to give any further details of her accomplices, but was later persuaded, and soon Archie was arrested too. The first trial took place on March 27th, 1940. She tried shifting the blame and the murder onto Archie, but the jury didn't buy it. After 6 hours of deliberating, they came back with the verdict of guilty, where she was sentenced to death by hanging.
Yeah.
Archie was also sentenced to death as well, but Tony managed to ask for a retrial, which took place in February 1941. Archie testified against Tony, and the jury came back an hour later with the same guilty verdict and the same death sentence. She managed to get another fucking retrial in February 3rd of 1942. This time it took the jury under an hour to convict her with the death sentence again. This third time, the method of execution had changed from hanging to electrocution. While awaiting her death, she gave a statement where she said, quote, "In the first place, the victim doesn't haunt me. I never think of him. I've known all along it would have been my life or his. I believe mine is worth as much as his was to him. I wonder, though, why is it legal now for some fellow to kill me?" She was even able to call Henry in prison. She told him, quote, get rid of that prison life. Oh, what the fuck? Okay, no, I'm reading this all wrong. Jesus Christ. I'm so gonna sleep after this. Get rid of that prison suit. Go to the front door. Go straight and try to make something of your life. Unquote. It was reported that Henry was emotional and crying hard during this call, while it was also reported that Tony was bright and cheerful. While being photographed for her execution, she told the cameraman that, quote, "I've smiled twice, mister. Have you any idea how much talent is being wasted today?" On the day of her execution, November 28th, 1942, she had chosen to wear a black dress and was reported crying when they shaved off her hair. When asked if she had any final words or statements, she simply replied, quote, "I think not." She was declared dead on November 28th, 12:12 p.m. She became the only woman in Louisiana state history to be executed by electric chair. Archie was executed in the same chair 1 year later on March 23rd, 1943. No relatives ever came to pick up Archie's body, and so he was buried in an unmarked grave.
Damn.
2 years later, on July 15th, 1945, Henry was released from prison, but was soon shot and killed in a brawl with a barkeeper. So all of that was fucking pointless. All parties were dead.
What the fuck?
And now to leave the story with... I wanted to cover last week, but it was just too fucking short. In the Calcasieu courthouse where Toni was sentenced and electrocuted, it was said that... it actually is said that you can still hear her screams, her footsteps, as well as her indistinguishable voice that can be heard throughout the building. The smell of her cheap perfume and burning hair have been reported to roam the air of the courthouse. She has also been seen meddling with the office equipment, sudden electrical malfunctions, and even locking doors on employees. And lastly, people who visit the courthouse have reported feeling being watched throughout the courthouse. Because of this, the Calcasieu courthouse has become one of Louisiana's most haunted locations.
Drink some more tea, my friend.
It's making my mouth dry. That's like half the reasons why I can't read today.
My story, my supernatural story, is a bit of a creepypasta.
Okay.
Because you had requested it, the elevator game.
Okay, yes.
Yes. Alright. So, and then I was able to find, because obviously it's a creepypasta, so it is not real. So, I do have a story from Reddit, r/no-sleep.
Of course.
So, but I'm gonna talk, but there actually, I was surprised there is a little bit of folklore behind it.
Really?
Like, what started it all, in a way. So I will be sharing that, and then after that, I'll read the little Reddit story afterwards. Alright.
In a weird way, I kind of want to try it. Like, it might not... Obviously, it's not real, but some weird part of me wants to...
I've been wanting to try a creepypasta paranormal game. There's one called the 11 Mile game, and I low-key want to play it.
Yeah.
Where you're driving for like 11 miles.
You can try the Japanese one. The Japanese dreams, it's like you dream, I think like 6 nights in a row. It looks like you already know what I'm talking about.
No.
No?
You can finish it though.
What were you going to say?
No, I have tape over my mouth. You finish what you were going to say?
No, your turn.
No.
Like, now you're so conscious about it.
Speak.
Oh, this has never happened before. Now it just feels weird. It's never really happened. You're the first person. Congratulations. So it's like you dream for like, I think it's either 6 or 7 days in a row, and in each dream you have to meet a specific amount of things, like requirements. Like, I think on the first night you dream, I think it's like you have to look out the window, and then you have to like look at the full moon or some shit. And then in the second day, while you're looking out at the window, there's a girl who's going to appear in your room. You have to let her be on the bed. Like, she has to be sleeping on the bed with you. The third day is like, once the girl is in the bed...
What, you a monster fucker too, Michael, or what?
No, you have to take her to the park. To like your closest local park.
And then you have to take her on a date.
No, what is with you and monster fucking? Oh my god.
Well, because you're saying let her in your bed and then take her to the park.
If you want, like, I can like actually cover that for the creepy, because the next episode is the creepy. Yeah. I can cover like the entire fucking thing.
That'd be really cool.
Okay, yeah. Really cool. All right, I'll save the rest for later then, because it's actually really cool. I like it a lot.
Yeah, but as I was looking for the elevator game, I stumbled across a whole bunch of paranormal ritual games, because that's essentially what it is. The elevator game is a paranormal ritual game. Whether it's real or not, I mean, there is no scientific evidence that it is real. So, thus, a creepypasta. Yeah. But, I went through a whole deep dive. Like, there's the Three Kings ritual, like a Ouija board, Bloody Mary.
I've heard about the Three Kings
and stuff like that. The 11 Mile game, Candyman. And then there's one that is a Japanese one called, I think it was called Daruma-san. And basically, the ritual is kind of weird. You go into the bathroom, you get naked, you turn off the lights, you put water in the bathtub, Jesus Christ. Hold up, you sit in there, and then you chant her name 3 times, and then while your eyes are closed, you envision her, and it's like this girl with long black hair, and she's like standing in the bathtub, and then she falls, like she's facing like where the faucet is at, technically in the bathtub.
Mm-hmm.
She falls and she hits her eye, so her eye's like gouged out.
What the fuck?
And then when that happens and you see her, she's gonna be popping up kind of like a peeper, like how I was talking about in the last episode.
Yeah.
And so after that happens, you cannot open your eyes at all whatsoever. You have to somehow make it to your room, sleep, not open your eyes, and then the game starts in the morning when you wake up.
What
and
the
then,
fuck?
And then after that, you'll see her like from the corner of your eye, and shit like that. And you see her at a distance. But if she starts getting closer, and you get uncomfortable, and you'll see her with her eye gouged out supposedly. And then when you see her and shit like that, and you're too close, there's something that you can say in Japanese, which is kind of like go away, and then you have to do like a slashing motion.
Mm-hmm.
But it said use it sparingly, because each time you use it, the weaker it'll be against her, like in case she gets closer later on.
Okay.
Like, it's just weird, and I was just like, oh my gosh, these are really cool and creative. Like, they're all, I don't, it's just weird. Yeah.
It's that kind of gave me chills, only because there's this. I'm gonna have to probably send it to you, because that's where I got like the Japanese dream thing from.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like these group of like content creators on YouTube. They gave out like a top 40 list of like urban legends.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't mention that, I think, but the music that play along with it in the background.
It's always the music that freaks you out the most.
Yeah, it's that's what I'm like hearing right now in my head as you were like saying that, and it just like blended perfectly to me, and it gave me fucking chills.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Alrighty then, so let's get this baby started. All right, so like I said, you have the theory that the elevator game is somewhat related to Elisa Lam. And though I am not going to be discussing her case fully, what happened to her is the reason why the elevator game started getting popular.
Yeah. Also, I think this is like our first creepypasta take for the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure if the Creepy Caffeinated Chronicles count. Because I feel like that's its own little separate thing.
That's just like...
It's its own little separate thing, technically. And then I feel like the stuff that we do cover, I think they're kind of like creepypastas, too.
Yeah, but they're more like... They're more story.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is more like...
So, yeah, this is a creepypasta game. I actually... Because the info was so small, because look at how much info I have.
Okay.
Since the info was so small, I was literally gonna do just a whole list of like my top 5 or like my top 3 creepypasta horror games that I thought, not like computer, but like to do in real life, quote unquote.
Yeah.
That I thought were creepy and like I wanted to share them and everything. But then I was just like, you know what? I feel like that'll be too much. The elevator game, I think by itself is fine. So like I said, the elevator game basically is an urban legend, and the rules for the game popped up around 2013 after the death of Elisa Lam. And Elisa Lam, if you don't know, she was this Asian Canadian girl, university student from Canada, which I said Canadian already, but anyways, she went to California to go sightseeing. She wanted to go sightseeing across California.
Mm-hmm.
So she was staying at the Cecil Hotel. And basically, like, I'll go more in depth about it next episode. Because, like you said, you believe that her and the elevator game are kind of together in a way. It's more supernatural. I think the complete opposite. Everybody that I was asking thinks the complete opposite.
Well, I can see the argument being made that it is true crime, sure.
Yeah.
Because it's a mystery for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like 100% like, oh, it's the elevator thing for sure.
Yeah.
But I just think that it somewhat explains her behavior.
Yeah.
During the whole thing. And
rewatching it, because I was rewatching her footage of her in the elevator.
Yeah.
Oh, that shit's creepy.
Oh yeah, that footage is still creepy. That's why I'm always thinking like.
Yeah.
You know, either I don't know, like she had to be seeing something, obviously.
Yeah.
Or it's obvious that she was running from something.
I actually know a lot about that case already without even having to do research, because this was actually because when I was younger, I've been having these notes down for her since 2017.
You're like, if I ever make a podcast, this is what I'm gonna fucking talk about.
This is exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to make a podcast, and the first story I wanted to do was Elisa Lam. I've always been fascinated with Elisa Lam's case and everything, how she ended up where she ended up, everything. And then it got to the point too where, like, at that time I was mutuals with this rock band called Kawaii AF. I've mentioned them before.
I think so.
But what's it called? They don't follow my Ray account. They follow my other account. But like, yeah, like, I'm literally right here. Like, I would go live with them sometimes, and then I would discuss like true crime with them, and they would be like all invested into. And it's just like this rock band that like I don't even listen to anymore. But like, yeah, they were like barely starting out, and then like we would have like decent people on the lives too, and I would share like my little true crime cases with them, and I shared Elisa Lam with them. So it was really crazy. So I have been having these notes for like the longest time. But yeah. So basically the first link to the elevator game was tracked back to April 2009.
Holy shit.
And it was linked back to another message board, and then it kind of another link to another link to another link to another link.
Yeah.
But the earliest we can find is one from 2009. And basically the rules to this game were all in Korean. And because it originates in Korea, and then it kind of popped up a little bit in Japan as well. But after the death of her, the rules to the game were translated in English. So then that's when it started getting popular, like in the West. But it was kind of like popular-ish over there in Korea
More
first.
well known over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for the people that don't know, like I said earlier, Elisa Lam was a university student who was staying at the Cecil Hotel, and footage of her in the elevator went viral after she was pressing the buttons randomly, peeking outside the elevator quickly, and then running back inside the elevator and pressing her back against the walls. It's just very strange footage. It really is creepy. She also moves her hands around like in a strange motion before leaving the elevator, and this would unfortunately be the last time we see Elisa alive before she's found deceased weeks later in the water tank of the Cecil Hotel. Yeah. So I'll be discussing more of that case in the next episode. So I guess you can kind of call this a two-parter in a way. But yeah, now going back to the elevator game. Supposedly, if the game is played right, you will enter another dimension. People have tried filming it and nothing has happened. But, like, one of the rules literally says is that you're not allowed to use electronics or have electronics with you. So no wonder why nothing happened, you know? The folklore of the game essentially is the story of a woman who, in a dream, is invited into an elevator full of people by death. And death beckons her with the phrase, "room for one more." And, later on, like, she'll wake up. But later on, she goes to an elevator in real life cramped with people, and somebody tells her the same phrase, like, "there's room for one more." Well, she decides to not ride the elevator. She'll be like, "I'll catch the next one." And then a tragic accident happens, and everybody in that elevator died. So she escaped due to her premonition. So, the elevator tale in itself, it's not real. But it's likely based off of an earlier 1906 story written by a ghostwriter.
1906?
Yeah. Good.
Good.
And the book was called Bus Conductor, which follows the same storyline but with the bus instead of an elevator. So, a fun fact, in many countries, that's basically the whole folklore.
No,
yeah. Episode over.
Alright, everybody go home. That's it.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, it's weird, huh? But it's cool that, like, the origin of the elevator game technically started back in, like, 1906.
Yeah, that's fucking far.
Yeah, you would never think.
You realize that, like, our stories are kind of close.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. And, what's crazy, too, is that people have such an irrational fear of elevators, too. And, like, there's so much, like, how do I say it? Like, movies and, like, shows based off of an elevator. Like, The Twilight Zone. There's a fucking ride in Disney, The Twilight Zone. And then there's Devil. And then they actually have a movie called The Elevator Game that came out last year. But I heard that it was really shitty. I think they got 2 out of 10 stars.
Damn.
Yeah, I low-key want to watch it. It's an hour and 30 minutes. I low-key want to watch it just for shits and giggles. There's a whole bunch of games on Steam too that are called the Elevator Game. Basically like, I believe, there's another elevator movie too, I think. I just can't think of it right now. But, like, if you really, like, notice, like, there's just a whole bunch of, like, fears of, like, elevators and shit like that, which I find super interesting. But, yeah, I don't know, people have a thing for haunted elevators. So, where is it at? So, fun fact, in many countries with Chinese-speaking languages, the number 4 is removed in many elevators because of its superstitious beliefs around death. The 4th floor is often replaced with 3A or removed entirely so that the sequence goes from 2, 3, and 5.
What the fuck? What?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you know what I mean? Like, it'll be the lobby, which is technically floor 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 5. They'll just skip 4 entirely.
Okay.
The same process is used to also be common practice in hotel rooms with more than 13 floors, with the supposedly unlucky number 13 being replaced with 12A or missed out entirely as well. These missing floors provide ground for speculation as to what could be on them or where exactly a passenger aligning at the floor might end up. And there's 2 places which are technically confirmed where this stuff has happened. And one is actually in the U.S.
Alright.
Also, the Stripes City Hall in Taiwan and the Pennsylvania Hall in Gettysburg College have elevators that are rumored to open to otherworldly dimensions. The Taiwanese elevator leads to the non-existent 4th floor to a scene of the netherworld. And in Gettysburg, they open a sub-basement floor to scenes of, what the fuck? I don't know why. I think I misspelled it, but it said cubing. But I don't even know what the fuck that means.
Cubing.
Hold up. Let me go back to this website real quick. That was so far off. It's supposed to be scenes, not cubing.
What?
To scenes of Civil War soldiers writhing in agony. So it low-key is kind of like the Tower of Terror. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then a lot of people call it the elevator. They call elevators. Oh, and then going back to when it comes to elevators too, there's an example of a poem by Ogden Nash, and it was technically about a murderer who was taken, like, he's in an elevator, and he's taken to a floor that shows him an afterlife in which murderers are chained to the rotting corpse of their victims.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah. And then, like I said, there's a Twilight Zone, Tower of Terror ride at Disney and everything. There's also a 1973 film called The Vault of Horror. And, basically, like, it's just, like, different horror tells. And, basically it talks about tellers descend in an elevator to a floor that shouldn't exist. And it opens out into an unknown space. At the end of the movie, it is revealed that this space is actually the afterlife / underworld that these villainous narrators have traveled to and are condemned to occupy. So yeah, shit's crazy. Shit's wild. But when I saw that, I was like, it reminds me of Devil, and then the Elevator Game itself has its own movie.
Yeah.
So yeah. Alrighty then.
I kind of didn't like that Devil Elevator movie. Like,
I've never seen it.
Is
it stupid?
It's somewhat stupid, but it's like, you're not expecting like a fucking phenomenal movie, obviously. Yeah. But it's like something to just like make you go, oh, okay, you know. Mm-hmm. And if you get like really sucked into it, then yeah, you.
Lie. I have watched it. I just don't remember it. But I know for a fact I have seen it. Cause don't they die like one by one?
Yeah. Okay. So fucking spoilers for that old ass movie. Fucking that came out like mid 2010s.
Yeah, they die one by one.
Yeah. So like some guy, I think what was it? I think he was responsible for some death. I think he was like, I don't know. I think he was like a paramedic, and he was like responsible for a death. And all these people in the elevator are guilty of something, and like one by one,
repent.
yeah, and one by one they're all dying, and there's like security man like watching the footage as it goes down. Of course, they have to have this stereotypical Mexican being like, it's the devil, but he's saying it in Spanish, so it's like, yeah, so he's like, it's the devil, like I've seen this before, or some shit like that, and one by one, they're all dying, and then there's two people left, and it's between, I think, this old lady and the main guy.
And then didn't the old lady, didn't she get possessed and she like climbs on the walls?
No, that's the thing.
Or I'm confused with something else.
Oh no, you're almost on point. Where in the movie, to twist the audience, they killed the fucking old lady. But she was the devil the whole time. She didn't get possessed. She was the devil the whole time.
Damn.
So like, the devil's gonna kill him or like take his soul, but then he'd like repent like the last second. He confessed to what he did. And the devil's like, fuck you, dude. like, how dare you fucking...
repent.
How dare you repent and shit.
I wanted you with me in my domain.
Basically, yeah. Basically that. Then he just, like, let him go, but, he's fucking surrounded by a shit ton of bodies. Shit like that.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's wild. I mean, which is to be expected. That's like a plot twist that you were expecting.
Yeah.
It's always the innocent ones. It has to be like an old lady or an old man. Usually an old lady. That turns out to be the devil in disguise.
Usually. But, I mean, but that's the fun with like, those kind of movies where it's like, it really can be anybody.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't have to be an old lady. Like, the payoff could still be just as fun or exciting with anybody else in that elevator. Because I think there was, like, a fucking kid in that elevator.
Oh, that would have been great.
So, like, this tiny fucking kid being possessed would have been really fun.
Yeah.
Have you seen Drag Me to Hell?
No.
That's a good movie, too. A bit cheesy, but the ending is really cool, in my opinion.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. It's, like, really cool. God,
Nice.
you gotta see a lot of fucking horror movies when you get a chance.
I do. Let's see. So this Reddit creepypasta that I'm reading, it does give a little bit of the rules, but if it doesn't, I'll just tell you guys the rules afterwards. Just for shits and giggles if you guys want to play. Alright, so this is from Reddit r/no-sleep. And I played the elevator game and ended up in a world I cannot return back from. Please do not play this game unless you want a similar fate. I am writing this in hopes for some help and to guide others to not have the same fate as me. I think I have made the biggest mistake of my life. It has been 5 months since it happened and I haven't been able to fix it. This phone is the only connection to the realm of my birth, my original world. I probably cannot undo my mistake, but I can guide future players. My phone is Android. It has an IR blaster. The only reason I bought it, and for some reason this phone can hold its network through dimensional change. As if it's a loophole, a glitch in the broken matrix that I was facing. Now that I could actually make any use of it because I am still here. The people here look like us. They all do. They are very sapient. They look just like us, but my bones know that they don't have the same origin as I do. They are good though. Have the same societal issues, the same intolerable governing body, protesters, and unrealistic agendas. The left wing and right wing at each other's throats. People who should touch some grass have podcasts.
Wow. Okay. Sure. Fucking
people
dick.
Who should have podcasts enjoy their lives.
Dick!
They are humans just like us, but they are not us. The rules stated by the urban legend still strike the same to this day. If time and space follow the same routine, follow the floor number pattern, pay no heed to the lady that enters the elevator on the 5th floor, leave the building immediately if you return to floor 1, etc. I followed them all correctly, but the rules are no guarantee as to whether you will be safe or alive after your elevator journey is done. The rules only make sure the procedure is correct. Hey, I will write down the rules in short for your reference to my guidelines, but the rules should always be memorized to your bones and spine. This is your SOS and your key. You will find the set of rules on any website. I suggest visiting multiple multiple of them before you start your endeavor, because each of them gives you different kinds of warnings. Something the successful players learned from their own experience, and take this advice of reading through all those points from this unsuccessful player. One thing the rules on blog sites don't mention is the choice of which world you want to enter, because most players enter an identical world with no electronics and no living thing around them, only a red cross window that's far stretched away from wherever you look, and keeps on moving further away from you. My case was vaguely different. So firstly, all you do is enter a building with more than 10 stories. Enter the lift via the first floor and only by pressing the up button. Follow the pattern of floors, pressing 4, then 2, then 6, then 10, then 5. On 5, a lady shall or shall not enter your floor. Then press 1. When you press 1, you will either reach... I feel like I'm like those phone operators. Press 1 for English. Press 2 for Spanish. Para español.
Wow. No, I wasn't getting that.
Yeah. On 5, a lady shall or shall not enter your floor. Then press 1. When you press 1, you will either reach 1 or you will reach 10. If you reach 1, get the fuck out of the building and don't come near it. Not in 6 to 7 months, I suggest. If you do reach 10, congratulations. Your first part of the journey is now a success. Now, something about the lady. Do not interact with her at any cost, because of course she is not a lady, no matter how pretty she looks. Oh, you looked at her? Alas, that is a grave mistake. Don't look at her. Don't talk to her. Just ignore her total existence. If you know the elevator game, you are already aware of how you should not interact with the lady at all. But one thing is often left blurry is that what you should do if she does not enter. This was my case. So my advice here, if the lady on the 5th floor does not enter, then just hope that you do return to the 1st floor after pressing it. If you do not then and start ascending, continuously press any and every floor button for it to stop. Or maybe the emergency or call button so that the staff can stop the elevator. Because if you end up reaching the 10th floor, good chances are you get to meet me and we make a cute therapy consult group for people who can't return back. Smiley face.
Wow.
I remember everything from that night so vividly. I did your usual pattern flow. I entered the lift when no one was using it. I entered 4, went up there, meh, nothing happened. Then I guess I pressed 2. I felt a vague chill around me as if the mechanism of the ritual was understanding my intention. I pressed 6, and then after it reached 6, I pressed 2. Then 10, then 5. Oh, 5. The elevator door opened, and there she was, standing with all her glory. I did not look at her, but of course I could see from her waist to bottom. She was dressed in Russian traditional clothing. Not something I was expecting from an urban legend that became popular in Korea and Japan. I think her wardrobe is a good collection from all cultures, or maybe that there's more like her. Who knows? I could feel it in my spine. She was looking at me. She stopped the elevator with her foot so that the doors don't close and asked, "Baby, which floor are you going?" I felt, whoa, baby, damn.
Honey, say less.
Yeah.
Take me out of this gate.
Yeah. Kill me for all I care.
Take me out of this mortal coil, baby.
Yeah. I followed the rules, did not look at her, did not reply to her, and completely ignore her. She said, "Not much of a speaker, eh? No worries, have your ride. I hope you have a better life." I have no idea why she said that. Looking back, I think she knew what was going to happen to me. She knew that I was not going to end up in the world most players venture into. Better life, she said. She did not enter the lift and I pressed 1. The ritual, now tainted because she did not enter, worked. I reached the 10th floor, and when the doors opened, it was like nothing changed. The building I entered was a hotel. The housekeeping staff was running around. I heard children crying. Some Karen was screaming at a worker because her coffee, which she made from the amenities, tasted bland. It was very confusing for me. I think I assumed the ritual did not work, and the lady was just another lady who could have been high. I walked out of the elevator and I felt great. Those silly online urban legends, such lies, I probably had muttered to myself. I took the lift again, reaching the ground floor, and walked out of the building. Everything was going well until my head started hurting and spinning, and I was slowly passing out. And that's the exact moment I remembered from one of those posts of an earlier player. Do not at any chance lose your consciousness, and if you do, no matter where you wake up, return to the building, refollow the exit ritual pattern, and return to your own world. My head felt dizzy as I woke up. In my very room, I thought to myself, was it all a dream? Did I search so much about some damn urban legend that I had such deeply engraving dream? For heaven's sake. I jerked myself up and I got down from my bed. Even my clothing is same as the last evening. I didn't know what was more weird, that I was wearing the clothes from my dream, or that I remember the dream so vividly that I can even recall the outfit I was wearing. Also, my phone was in my pocket. This is something I just never do. No matter how sleepy I am, I keep my phone on the other end of my table, in case it might just blast if the lithium goes through a thermal runaway. And that's when I noticed it, my table. It was completely on the opposite side. No, it is right beside my bed, just like every day, but the bed in the entire room is opposite, as if it were mirroring the room I know. Also, it wasn't just a complete mirror. My room was smaller, just a bit in breadth. One wouldn't notice it, even if they visit my room on a weekly basis. But it's my damn room, of course I would know, even if a fly moved differently. Lo and behold, that extra loss in my room was added to my washroom. Again, one wouldn't notice it right away. In a nightmare-like urgency, I rushed down the stairs to complain my mother. And that is when the realization hit me that I did in fact play the elevator game. My dad was there in the kitchen, alive and happily married. Figuratively much different from how I remember him. I stood there in shock with my mouth wide open. How could this be? I remember my father. The last time I lived with him was until I was 9, when my parents parted ways. The last time I saw him was when I was 11, when he died. Not that I cried. He was far from what a father is supposed to be. I am 25 now. Good morning, sweetie. His voice sounded oddly different. I was utterly petrified by this moment. There was a quirky yet calming nature to his sound which creeped me out even more. I dashed out of the house while grabbing my backpack from my sofa. I could hear him call out my name in concern. This is it. This is definitely it. I crossed the borders of the unknown realm, but why are people here? Isn't it supposed to be dark with no one in it? No electricity at all? But there is everything. This is a whole other world. What went wrong? I had to return to my world. I ran through the roads and traffics to the Hotel Sunset. As I crossed the roads, I could see it all. Cars stopping at the orange light, people walking in blue. I mean, they are still following basic physics by using orange, a longer wavelength for stopping cars, but does red not exist in this world? Not it does. Oh my god, the road lines are red.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
They're fucking red.
They're fucking red. I hurried through the crowd to reach the hotel. I pulled out my phone, which was surprisingly working perfectly. Internet, GPS, everything. It said I reached my location, Hotel Sunset. I looked up, it said Hotel Moonshine. I am surprised it wasn't named Moonrise. It would have been the cherry on top. I walked in, the interior looking the same. I waited and I waited and waited for the evening to hit and the horde to lessen. I stood up and walked to the lift. I repeated the entire process. The lift stopped at 5. Instead of a lady, someone else entered. I, of course, didn't look up, but they entered hurriedly, screaming my name, and I had to look up. Basically, they screamed and he freaked out and he looked up.
Yeah, I got that.
I was already freaked out at this point, and it was me. I was looking at me. She.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
So the female version of him.
Mm-hmm.
She, well, me, or wait, she. That's basically what it says. She held the lift by her foot. What's up with women in the elevator game to hold the elevator by the foot? What did you do? I mean, she, one that looked like me. What did I do? I replied back. Whoever this doppelganger was, sure, I was petrified, but here I was. Did the lady enter your lift? She screamed at me. What? I was trembling at her screeching. The white portion of her eye started to redden. "Oh my god, did she or not enter when you did the ritual?" she again proclaimed. "She didn't," I replied, and slowly lost my leg strength and somewhat collapsed while sitting down. "Why? Why did you complete the ritual then? Did you not read before you did? You are supposed to be me. You are supposed to be smart. Heck, aren't you supposed to be smarter? Oh my god, is that my backpack or yours?" I just shook my head and handed her the backpack. It was hers. It was hers definitely. I never put any anime pins on mine. Speaking of anime pins, Naruto here has pink hair. Isn't that cool?
What the fuck is going on?
She took out her phone and said, "If you want to go back home, go to this Tumblr account and download the app."
Oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking god. Like, use code something to get 20% off of an order.
Viewhotline.tumblr.com. I look, you want to search it up just for shits and giggles.
Hold it.
Hold up. I'm just gonna... Let's play some elevator music while we wait.
I can't.
What the fuck?
Whatever.
View Hotline. I know why you are here. Knowledge should be free. View. Beyond known information. And it has a link. There's a link. I clicked on it. What's that supposed to be?
I guess like a scary photo.
Stay safe and informed. Dark Side theme by Edmundo Santos. Alright, I'm gonna keep that. Maybe that's important. Alright. She said, "This account is called viewhotline.tumblr.com," and she left. Was that the me of this universe? Do we have counterparts in every universe? How many universes are there? Are these even universes the way our science teaches us universes?
Oh wow.
The lift started to quake. The light started flickering and I could hear some noise. Soft noises that slowly grew louder and louder until they became uncontrollable screams. My eardrums were hurting beyond control until it all stopped and the lift door opened. I stepped outside, yet I was still at the Moonshine Hotel. I tried the ritual again and I ended back here, to floor 1, and went back home to my dad and mom. For the next 7 days, I kept on going back to the elevator, trying the ritual continuously and failing. On my way, I noticed new things about their world. These people like to greet each other in a very weird way. They grab each other's throats and smile, almost sadistic. Language is very similar, but there are few words and phrases here and there that have changed with customs and traditions. Honey here tastes like metals. Cows don't moo, and birds chirp, but the sounds are unfamiliar. Dogs don't exist, and cats are the only domestic animals here. I read similar things in some blogs, but never did I think I would get to experience them for real. Either way, on every failed ritual, I reached floor 1 and went back home, and repeated the cycle until the 7th day. I got so fed up that I kept on trying multiple times, but all I did was end up on floor 1, but I saw the weirdest thing. Well, I can fill in on what happens if you immediately don't leave the building after playing the elevator game and ending on floor 1. So basically, in this, from what I understood now since I'm reading it slowly in my head, ghosts. You're able to see ghosts. Deranged souls that roam around the building. That is exactly what you see, and once they notice your existence, God save you if there is any. Mine was rather sarcastic. They did in fact notice me. They all came running towards me, looked right at me, smelled me, and then slowly moved away and kept on about roaming. My heart intensified so much that it felt like I lost a marathon I almost won. I saw a man, maybe a bit older than me, in his 20s. He walked down the entrance to come sit beside me. They want to attack someone who's like them. You are no use to them. They used to belong here, but don't anymore, and you never did. I looked at him with a frightening shock. I took my bag and ran back home. Only when I came home, I realized he could have had answers. But I was so terrified at the moment that the only thing I could think of was getting away from him. I needed answers. I needed to enter the website the other me mentioned. I got a new phone from this world. They didn't have Google, but I'll tell you their search engine is much better. It has AI integrated within. The account never opened from the new phone. Tumblr did, but that account never did. Then I tried my own phone and voila. The page had nothing. A heading, a 2-liner bio, and a link. Link to download the app. Tumblr happens to be one of those few apps that do work in other dimensions. Apparently, it has something to do with the first person who jumped dimensions. Not only did they jump, but they also jumped through time and made sure every world had Tumblr. It's kind of funny. They could have chosen Reddit, but it's much more effective. I loaded the app. It's a 2010s forum-based app. There are discussion topics under which you make threads. You got a chat box to interact with other users. The main discussion had a guide. I searched through it and finally came to the part of how to enter and leave a mirror world. And it's blank. Well, not totally. A couple of reasons saying why you should not enter it. A bullet that said download this PDF to know how to click back to your own world. I hurriedly clicked on the bottom. I hurriedly clicked on it and boom, the file did not open. I have never been so disappointed in my life. There are so many dimensions else that the one with red cross and mirror dimensions, it is almost like aliens exist because some humans look so different. Some people probably might even have ended up on my world as well. I wonder how they are taking it. Apparently, only devices of one world present in another, or at least have been in a few, can open the website and run its APK file. Only androids work across dimensions. There's a conspiracy theory that the creators of Android have got something to do with the entire interdimensional rituals and breaking the laws of space and time. Wow.
Yeah, they feel like
I love how this thing is just like, fuck iPhones. Either way, hoping to get some results, I posted on the site wishing for some advice on opening the file, or someone just copy-pasting the rules, I guess. I received a DM saying, since you have successfully crossed a mirror dimension, you are capable of much more than you can imagine. But you should know how to use them. You have to be responsible for every move you make. Good lord, I am not Spider-Man. The user further said, I do not know where you are from, but I am from dimension 17. I was gonna say 38.
The fucking Freddie Wap song?
17,391.
Gee, you want to say it again?
17,391. Go to the Universal Map Translator and put the location. Cairo office main building, street, red 22209. It will automatically give you a few building locations of your world. But the interface is very slow because it's not a singular place that has a counterpart in every dimension. There is one in every 4 hours of journey. It's an arbitrary location. It will take some time, maybe days, but you will reach it. I asked the user a dozen questions. How do I find the translator map? How many universes are there? What do I do when I reach there? Why does everyone speak English? But they never replied. But now I have something. I have hope. A twinge of hope. I searched around the app and found the map feature. Build within the forum. It was on the top layer, but it confused me and I couldn't find it right away. Ever since I found the map, it had been nothing but a dilemma. 5 months. 5 months of intense searching and nothing. The first time I entered the location and searched, it landed me the coordinates of a graveyard. The irony. The second time, a fish market. The third, a 3-story guest house with the most normal Karen. I can't even venture out every day. I have a life here I have to maintain. This me had a similar job. Marketing manager at a pretty good job. The pay is almost the same. A bit lower here. But hey, cost of living is also lower here. Putting those two together, I probably have the exact same pay. But they have more facilities, better vacation leaves. That is exactly what I took right after I downloaded the app, to understand the world better and the changes here and there. In the morning, I go to work, where I sort out the place I will visit, and after work I leave. Some places were nearby, some were far. One was in the neighboring country. Luckily, the passport here is strong, but none of them worked. I think I have broken the not your universe, not the place, click again button. Sundays and Saturdays are for long-distance locations. Also, every day I cannot afford to go, even though the pay is good. In my world, I used to live alone with mom, visiting me now and then. She and I had a family business along with my job. So all was good. Here, I don't have a place of my own, and I gotta pay the bills around the house and sometimes take care of businesses as well. There are so many similar yet different things here, and I feel like I live in a deja vu. By now, I have crossed out almost 75 locations within 5 months, all of them being complete failures. I have crossed out 60 universes that aren't this one. I have made multiple posts on that app describing my condition, where I am, and which universe it might be. If I even know this universe number and input it, the map translator will work much, much better. I described my original universe in the post expecting someone to understand me and maybe send me a picture of my mother and friends. But all I have received are words of sympathy and hopefulness. A few more people have sent me their Cairo addresses, but they all can send only 1 or 2 messages before the chat box stops. One of them managed to message me that I have to enter my universe number in the settings for the interface to work better. I also haven't been able to find the man from the hotel on the app or at the hotel either. What do I do? Any piece of advice? Somebody put, you did the ritual wrong.
What the just flat out like, yeah, you fucked up.
You already did the ritual wrong. You said the order of the floors was enter 1, then press 4, 2, 6, 10, 5. Yeah, you entered 4, press 2, 6, 2, 10, 5.
Yeah, leave it to the internet to tell you what you're doing is wrong.
Don't play the elevator game, kids. Or do. Depends.
No, I don't
care. Don't blame us.
I think the takeaway message is stay off of Reddit, stay off of Tumblr. Don't partake in any of those online challenges that you see come across your feed.
Well, we're literally going to do that too.
What do you mean?
We're going to do one of these games.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I mean, that's because we're stupid.
Yeah.
And plus, you don't believe in a lot of this shit.
Yeah.
So, it's good to have one skeptic, one believer. Mm-hmm. The good old Ryan and Shane golden ratio.
I was literally just about to say that. Somebody needs to be a Ryan, somebody needs to be a Shane.
Mm-hmm. It works out.
Oh, did I been telling you that I think I've been seeing ghosts lately?
You mentioned it, yes.
Yeah. So, essentially, at work, I saw, since it's dark out, and there's light inside, you can see the reflection. I can see my reflection.
Mm-hmm.
From the sliding doors, like the ones from like the grocery store or whatever, but they're locked at night for safety reasons, which makes sense.
Yeah.
So then, I remember I was in the middle of doing my changes. This was 2 days ago. So like I'm assuming it was Friday night. And I was there and I was doing my changes, and then for some reason I just looked over there at the sliding door, and then I saw the reflection of like one of the nurses. So I turned so that I can tell the nurse something, but the nurse wasn't there. I was like, wait a minute. And then I turned back, and then I saw the reflection still there. And then I turned back again, but my nurse wasn't there. So I was like, I saw her reflection, but she wasn't there. And I was like, okay, that's a little weird. That's a little funky. And then that same day actually, I was in the middle of doing my changes, and then I heard somebody say, Denise, Denise, Denise. And I was like, what the fuck? And so then I asked my patient, I was like, do you hear that? And then my dumbass, they have fucking hearing aids on.
Wow.
So
that's like going up to one of your blind patients and be like, did you just see that? Oh my god. You would have never believed it. If you see it, tell me. That's actually really fucked up.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah. She had hearing issues, and I was like, did you hear that, or am I going crazy? She's like, hear what? So I'm like, damn. I'm so fucking stupid. And I was like, I'm so stupid. So I was like, never mind. So yeah, that was that. I called it a day. And then I was on the phone this morning with my boyfriend. I know what you're gonna say, Patooey. Whatever. But even before we started dating, I've been hearing like a thumping in his room. And I genuinely thought it's because of like a ceiling fan. You know how like when they're too fast they make that little thumping sound?
Yeah.
I thought that's what it was it. Or I thought that like he had his shoes and they were pressing against each other like that.
Mm-hmm.
In a way. And then after that I would kind of hear thumping like if it was on a book. Like exactly like this sound. Okay. And I would just hear it, and it would kind of be like that. Like, it would be like that. So, like, I just, like, I've been listening to it even before we started dating, like, when we first started calling each other on the phone, like, in December. But I never mentioned it until this morning. And then I told him, I was like, hey, do you hear that thumping? Or, like, what are you doing? Like, I hear thumping. And he said, like, what do you mean? I'm literally in bed. And then I was all like, you're not thumping anything? Like, your dog isn't wagging its tail and hitting something? He's all like, no. And I was like, you don't have a ceiling fan making that noise? And he's all like, no. And I was like, okay, well, I keep hearing thumping, and I'm trying to recreate the sound, but I can't really recreate it. And then he's like, you know what? Let me see if there's something here. And he has a little divination tool, in a way. And it has, like, a little amethyst tied with, like, some jewelry. And that's what kind of, like, what they use. It's kind of like a fortune-telling device, I guess, in a way. Kind of like tarot cards. Mm-hmm. So he asked it. He's like, every time my mom uses it, it doesn't work. But when I use it, it works. And he asked if something was there. And it said yes. And then he asked if it was thumping. And it said yes. And then he asked, like, if they're there with good intentions. And then it said yes. And then it's all like, can I ask you to stop the thumping? And then it said yes. And then it says, do you want to leave my room? And it said no. Ugh. So he's all like, okay, well, can you at least stop the thumping? And it said yes or whatever. So he put his thingy down. A pendulum, that's what it's called. It's called a pendulum. And, okay. So yeah, like, I was on the phone with him, and for like a good, 10 minutes, I didn't hear any thumping. And then I heard thumping again. I was like, there's thumping again. He's like, I'm literally not doing anything. I don't know what thumping you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And as we're on the phone with each other, I had him, like, I had my AirPod in. I heard rustling next to my closet. Like, clothes moving. And then I look, but there's literally nothing there because my closet is completely full. I don't have a closet door because we ripped off the door. But literally, like, I have my basket of shoes right there. I have a whole dresser in my closet. I have a box in my closet. Even if there was a ghost hiding there, they couldn't stand. But I heard my clothes rustling right next to me because I had the AirPod in my right ear and the closet was on the left. So I heard the clothes rustling, and then I look and there was nothing there and everything. And then after that, I was like, okay, that's fine. It's whatever. And then I'm still on the phone with him, and then I hear rustling behind me, like a plastic bag. And then I turned around and I was like, can you shut the fuck up? And then he's all like, don't curse it. And then I was all like, whatever. Like, I was like, if they want to haunt the place, they can haunt the place, but like, out of my room, please. At least let me sleep, and then you can come at night. I don't care. And then he's all like, damn. He's all like, you're mean. And I was like, whatever. And then after that, it stopped. And then that's it. So, I don't know if it's real or not. I don't know if something just fell in my closet.
I don't know. When you start to, I guess, experience some stuff, you'll start to feel...
I didn't feel eerie or spooked out at all.
Really? Not even like a sort of like pressure like in the air?
No.
Really?
Because it's not real. But I don't know what it was. So obviously the only explanation would technically be ghosts, but at the same time I don't think they're real, so I mean I did ask that if ghosts were real to show me. Mm-hmm. So maybe it is trying to show me. And
you're just like, no, not believing it.
I don't know.
It could probably like send you a note with it like handwritten in some fucking blood, being like, hey,
in
Latin, like, hey, it's me, I'm real, listen to me. And you'd be like,
hello.
You'd be like, I know this is Michael's handwriting. When I see that, I know it's his handwriting when I fucking see it.
It's a ghost trying so hard to make me believe that they're real. Yeah. And then I'm right here like do you guys hear anything? You know what I hear? I hear the sound of you shutting the fuck up. I love how like the fuck is so emphasized right there. Like I hear the sound of you shutting the fuck up.
She just says it like she says it with her whole fucking chest.
Yeah, and then the little boy's all like 7, and she's all like, "What the fuck?" Oh, it's freaking great.
It's a good fucking show.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I feel like it's a weird feeling. I know you don't believe in it. But when you feel like something in that room or like in a room with you, the best feeling I can describe it is like if you're like laying down, it's like having like a weighted blanket on you. Like you can feel.
I like weighted stuff on me though, like.
But it's not like weight; it's like pressure. Like, you feel like something is just like heavy in the air around you. I don't know. Like that's as best as I can describe it. Like even. Like when I was in Texas as a kid, like trying to sleep. Like I really couldn't sleep at night. Like you could tell my mom, you could tell Daisy, like I needed a nightlight back then.
Aww.
And I never needed one beforehand, but like before we moved, like I was completely fine. But there was something about that fucking house, something about that room that just did not feel right. Where I developed such a nasty habit of covering myself in my blankets, like almost to the point where I couldn't breathe.
Damn.
Because like whatever was out, I thought, oh, they couldn't get through the blankets. So like, you know, it would protect me. I even had like my little stuffed dog, like my childhood little stuffed dog.
Yeah.
I had with me, and I would like, it's like over here in the corner. I was so scared, like I was almost like fucking choking it basically. Like
poor Plushie has been through so much.
Yeah. Like I was just scared, so I was like almost like crushing it with the amount of force I was putting into it. Actually, I think did I tell you it? You're gonna have to stop me if I ever told you it. Or one night I remember I woke up and nothing felt right. Like I knew I was home, right? I knew I was awake, but something about the air didn't feel right, and I remember seeing like the fucking wall start to distort and twist.
You weren't on acid?
No, I was fucking 8.
You could still be on acid and be 8.
Yeah, but I was in my bed. Like, what the fuck was I doing? All right, the most intense shit I was doing was playing fucking Pokemon Silver. That's it. But I remember just like the walls distorting, and it was freaking me out. So I kept blinking to try to fix my vision. It wasn't working. I rubbed my eyes. It wasn't working. So I just did what I always naturally do back then, which was just cover my entire fucking body in blankets, trying not to see what the fuck was going on, closing my eyes as tightly as I can, and then by the morning everything would just like go back to normal.
All right then. I guess this ends the episode.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's crazy. Man, more ghost stories. I will keep you guys updated.
Yeah, it was more...
if I see stuff or if I don't see stuff. I also freaked out at first because I went to change one of my patients and then the bathroom was dark. So when I opened, I thought I saw somebody sitting on the toilet and it wasn't anybody.
But I think at this point, what you're describing just sounds like sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
Like I think you're just lacking so much sleep.
Maybe.
Who
knows? But yeah.
But anyway, that's going to cover it for episode 20 of the Caffeinated Creeps podcast.
Deuces.
I'm still in the middle of this fucking outro.
Ignore I said that. Hey! You said that you're used to it.
Yeah, I am used to it. It felt weird, like not being interrupted.
It felt weird being heard for the first time.
It was weird. I didn't like it. But that's going to cover it. So thank you guys so much for stopping by, listening, watching if you're on YouTube. Give a rating if you're on Spotify. Take a part of the polls. Leave a comment. Like it. Subscribe if you're on YouTube. Spread the podcast with whoever you think is going to enjoy it. And also going to be having an outro for this one. I'll figure it out if it sounds good or not. We'll see. That's all I got for now. You?
Am I allowed to talk now?
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys in the next one. What the fuck? Okay.
What you want me to say?
I guess you already said it.
Shrimp Alfredo.
Wow. Okay. That's a beautiful note to end it on. You know what? We'll clank it out to Shrimp Alfredo.
Wow.
Beautiful.